Hello and welcome to day 5 of our online festival, coming direct to you here from the Theatre Island in Copenhagen. It's time to catch a quick matinee before your Saturday night out. Or maybe it's just another night in. So at least your favorite matinee show is on right now, and we have some special guests here today. Also one that actually wasn't announced. I'm not sure. Anyway, we have a great program for you, and my name is Eric, and my co-host Grit is ready to take you through the program. Go with it, Grit.
Yes, hi Eric and everybody, and we have another great program ready for you today that I now am going to take you through. In a few minutes, Annette Asp Christensen is going to introduce the video documentation of the piece Kvindelig, made by Wunderwerk. The artist is with us here in the studio, and after that we screen the video. At approximately 4:30, Helle Fuglsang is going to present the video piece Behind the Fence. And at 4:55, Katrine Staub, Snorre Elvin and Peter Scherbæk are going to introduce the choreographed piece Porous Nests, and after that show the video presentation of the project. Around 20 minutes past 5, we have the daily arts talk with Annette Asp Christensen, Helle Fuglsang and Katrine Staub. Remember, you can post comments and questions in the chat, and we will try to include them in the artist talk. So now let's go to Annette Asp Christensen on stage.
Hello, my name is Annette Asp Christensen, and I am the artistic leader of Wunderwerk. Since the dawn of time, the female gender has been under discussion, and the woman as body and being has been subject to wandering. Aristotle believed that woman was one giant evolutionary step below the man, representing the first step on the road to deformity. An assumption that echoes all the way up through millenniums and even finds its way into the rhetorics of Darwin. With Kvindelig, we have moved further down this road, paraphrasing the female body and assumptions about it, framed in a magic show. What is a woman? What is it that she can do, and what tricks does she have up her sleeves? And what would the ultimate female being look like? These are questions that we have examined. With nylon skin teddy bear stuffing and papier-mâché shells, we create abnormal growths and dress-up dolls that parasite on our own bodies. We play with the cliches and conjure up different types of women, magical and monstrous, seductive and confusing, and all that in between, in a bizarre, comic and poetic mix with a little magic touch. The work was created collectively in a process where all the performers from the very beginning partook in developing the framework, the staging and the puppets and mask figures that you will see. Performers on stage are Ingrid Tranum Velasquez, Stine Kupé, and myself. Light is created by Mikkel Magnus Olsen, and sound and music by composer Rune Søchting. Documentation and editing of the video you will see is done by Anne Birgitte Borger Petersen. Kvindelig is a show for stage intended for a live audience. With this video edition of the work, we hope to have picked some magical tricks that let you enjoy a female fantasy for the time to come. It all sets out on New Year's Eve. Enjoy.
Når klokken ved midnat slår 12, render det gamle år ud. I morgen tager vi fat på friske dage, og bag os ligger den tid, der er gået. Alt, hvad vi oplever, sætter spor og giver erfaringer. Dem må vi tage med os videre i livet. Der var engang en mand, der hed Goebbels. Se, han mente, at kvindens opgave er at være smuk og føde børn. Og kirkefaderen Augustin sagde, der er ikke nogen forskel på, om det er en hustru eller en moder. Det er stadig fristeren Eva, som vi må være på vagt overfor i enhver kvinde. Det var der vist nogen, der godt kunne lide at høre, hva'? Ja. Er der nogen, der vil have et æble? Æble? Nå, ikke. Martin Luther mente, at kvinders plads er i hjemmet, da de har brede hofter og et stort fundament. Hustruer, søstre, mødre, døtre. Lad os møde det nye år med eftertanke og omtanke. Lad os bære erfaringerne med os ind i det nye år og tage fat på året med håb og fortrøstning. Velkommen til dette enestående show. Det eneste show i hele verden, hvor kun kvinder tryller med kvinder. Velkommen til Femme Fantastique. Den første krop, I skal se, har født intet mindre end 17 børn, mine damer og herrer. Er det muligt? Er det muligt at presse denne krop ned i en italiensk spaceredragt, størrelse 34? Mine damer og herrer, læg mærke til de 4 bryster. Ja, det er muligt, mine damer og herrer, at passe dem alle sammen ind i en bind. også til de brede hofter og det store fundament, mine damer og herrer. Hjerteligt velkommen til CEO Annie Knudsen i fri dressur med hendes teenage-datter. Tag rigtig godt imod den. Men først en reklame.
Jeg er sulten. Det er jeg også. Wow, hvad er det for noget? Det er nogle æbler, min mor har købt. Wow, de læber er helt lilla og med glimmer. Sejt. Ej, må jeg også smage? Ja, selvfølgelig. Vi er alle sammen best friends forever.
Har du problemer med at få din tween til at spise ordentligt? Rainbow Apples fra Eve's Garden er den ideelle tween snack. Sund og sjov.
Ærede publikum. Vi er nu nået til showets mest forførende forvandlingsnummer. En sensuel, fristende og aldeles selvopofrende kvinde. Kære publikum, bød hjerteligt velkommen til Miss Midnight. skal møde, udlever sin drøm. Ved jeg lidt velkommen til Amanda.
Virgin Vanish fra Cinderella Cleaning Service. Vores servicemedarbejder efterlader dit hus skinnende hvidt og rent.
Ring 80 13 20 12
Og sig rabatkoden
1 2 3 Virgin Vanish. Måske lidt forbudt at sige, men bare fordi jeg er blevet mor, så betyder det ikke, at jeg ikke også har lyst til at se godt ud, ligesom alle andre.
Ja, jeg havde aldrig hørt om det her produkt før, men så kom min søster og fortalte mig om det.
Bamsevat er et både billigt og taknemmeligt materiale, og fås nu også i en dermatologisk testet variant baseret på genbrugsplast. Når Arne hælder op, er det både sexet og på samme tid nuttet som en plysbamse. Kom forbi klinikken, vi kan også hjælpe dig.
Kære publikum, at kvinder tilhører en tidligere og lavere stadie af civilisationen, fastslog Darwin. Det er vigtigt at huske på en aften som denne. Vi kan derfor kun slutte af med et nummer, der emmer af kvindelighed, mine damer og herrer. Det ultimative transformationsnummer.
Next artistic piece in today's program is the video Behind the Fence by Helle Fuglsang / Wilma version. And the artist Helle Fuglsang is with us on stage, going to do the presentation of the work herself. So let's go to the stage with Helle Fuglsang.
Hi, I'm Helle. I'm a mime artist. I'm going to present you a free-screen video installation that is filmed at the Deportment Center Sjælsmark in February 2020. At this moment, about 150 kids were living there with their families. The film is a part of a performance dance project that I have been doing with the kids since August 2019. Sjælsmark is located in a military area. The families are living in military barracks, and the camp is surrounded by a fence. The police is controlling the camp, and it's controlling the entrance to the camp. And the Red Cross is the one who's taking care of the daily issues. The Danish immigrant policy's goal is to create a very stressful and unhuman daily life situation for the families. As a mime artist, my idea and my concept to do this project was to give the kids a possibility and tools to express themselves with the body, and for a moment to manifest their own rules in a very difficult daily life situation. I wanted to work with imagination and with humor and with illusions. Because if you are in a very difficult situation and you have no perspective of life, no control over your own life, to work with the imagination have an incredible impact on you and create hope. And with mime, everything is possible. If you can imagine it, you can do it. Borders and fence is not a natural law. It's made up by humans. It's a political decision of how to protect power. Borders is an illusion, but not for the people who has to cross the borders or the people who's living behind the fence. But with mime, you can create mime walls. You can push it and you can move it. So for me, it was very important to work with illusions, and especially the mime wall with the kids. Because for me, the mime wall is an artistic and an activistic and a political statement. I was not invited, no, not even invited, I was not allowed to do mime in Sjælsmark. Both the police and the Red Cross said no. So I had to be invited personally by people inside the fence, and thanks for that. And I had to sign with the police at the gate that I was together with this person, only talking and not doing mime. This, the consequence of this was that I have no space to work with the kids, but it turned out to be my luck, because I had to be in the corridor, and it's also the scenography of the film you're gonna see. And in there, I met the kids in action. I met them, and what is also wonderful about mime is you can react on the real situation and just transform it in the moment to something else. Another thing is, for example, if you had Ahmed hunting David, and I was there, I could do the mime wall, and they will stop up and wonder, what is that? I saw something, it's not existing. And at this moment, I really felt connected to these kids. I know it's now. And we could do mime movements, and after a moment, they will run away. But next time I saw them, they will show me the movement. So, yeah, I'm so proud of these kids. So, go for it.
Next artistic project in today's program is Porous Nests. The group consists of Peter Scherbæk, Snorre Elvin, and Katrine Staub. They are all with us on stage, introducing their video.
Hello, my name is Snorre, and on my one side you have Pippi, the other one is Kat, and we are here with our project Porous Nests. We have known each other since our childhood in Aarhus, and we have been working together in many different constellations through the last many years. And Porous Nests has been going on for 1.5 years or so, where we have been working together as a trio. Porous Nests is a nest building practice. We build nests that serves as containers for dance to happen within, as well as spending time with those dances. It's a collective work where we all choreograph, conceptualize, and perform the work. And it has happened in many different kinds of forms and structures according to different contexts.
And for the Frifalds Festival selected works, we were supposed to do a 3-hour durational performance in Copenhagen Contemporary, and to which the audience could move around freely in the space around us and also come and go as they pleased. In this open space, we would have moved through different choreographic structures, changing settings, traveling and parading through space, and perform harmonized songs. We would have moved through physical and mental stages and exchange roles of dancers, nest builders, supporters, or foster mergings of the different roles in a landscape of constant transformation.
But instead, in this current situation, we made a video work that we're going to show, which is approximately 16 minutes, and which functions both as a documentation of Porous Nests, but also we consider it a work in itself. There's several people we want to thank. We were so lucky to have the option to film in the Danish National School of Performing Arts. So a big thanks to you. Also several friends and family members. Especially we want to thank Nana Hansen, who did the filming. And someone else we want to thank. Of course, the Frifalds Festival. Yes, a warm thanks to the Frifalds /Selected Works for curating this project. And without further ado, we hope you will enjoy some good old nesting.
All God's children need traveling shoes. Drive your problems from here. All good people read good books. Now your conscience is clear. I hear you talk, girl. Now your conscience is clear. In the morning when I wipe my brows, wipe the miles away, I like to think I can be so willed and never do what you say. I never hear you and never do what you say. Look, my eyes are just hologram. Look, my love has run red from my hands. From my hands I know you'll never be more than a twist in my sobriety. More than a twist in my sobriety. More than a twist in my sobriety. We just poked a little empty pie for the fun that people had at night. Late at night, don't need hostility. Timid smile and pause to free. I don't care about them different thoughts. Different thoughts are good for me. Up in arms and chest and hold. All God's children took their toll. Cup of tea takes time to think, yeah. Time to risk a life, a life, a life. Sweet and handsome, soft and porky. Pick up till you see the light. Pick up till you see the light.
The hills were alive with wildflowers, and I was as wild, even wilder than they. For at least I could run. They just died in the sun, and I refused to just wither in there. Just a wild mountain road, seeking freedom to grow. So I ran, fearing not where I'd go. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow. And the flowers I knew in the fields where I grew were content to be lost in the crowd. They were common and close. I had no room to grow, and I wanted so much to branch out. So I uprooted myself from my home ground and left to my dreams, and I took to the road. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive. Wildflowers don't care where they grow. I just never belong. I just long to be gone. So the garden one day set me free. Just a wild mountain road, seeking mysteries untold. No regrets for the paths that I trod. When a flower grows wild, it can always survive.
Wildflowers don't care where they grow. It's been a long time since I came around. Been a long time, but I'm back in town. Last time I'm not leaving without you. You taste like whiskey when you kiss me. Oh, I give anything again to be a baby doll. Last time I'm not leaving without you. He said, sit back down where you belong, in the corner of the bar with your high heels on. Sit back down on the couch where we made love the first time, and you said to me something about lonely nights and the lipstick on your face. Something about my cool Nebraska guy. Something about baby you and I. 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 I'd rather die without you and I. You and I. You and I. Without you and I. You got a whole lot of money, but you still pay rent, 'cause you can't buy a house in heaven. There's only 3 men that I'm serving my whole life. It's my daddy and Nebraska and Jesus Christ. Never meant to start alone. All I wanted was to let you in. And instead of using force, I guess I should have let you in. I never meant to start alone. All I wanted was to let you in. I guess I should have let you in. Don't you ever say I just walk away. I will always hold. I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break your walls. All you ever did was break me. I
it's the time for today's artist talk, where one person from each arts project is with us on stage, and each of them is going to receive 2 questions, and after that they are invited to pull a question out of a black hat, and the idea is that each person from each artist project is going to answer the question. So let's hit the stage.
Yes, hello and welcome. And first up, I would like to say thank you for showing fantastic work. It was a really nice program today, I think, with all 3 videos. So what we'll do is I will ask questions for each project to begin with, but remember you can also ask questions online and put them into the chat, and we'll return to you in just a moment. But first up, I would ask each one of you a few questions, and I will start up with you, Annette Asp, representing Wunderwerk and Kvinde Lig. And I would like to ask you, you told me that when making this piece, you did it a lot like a collective process with the 2 other performers. Maybe you will mention who they are as well.
Ingrid Tranum Velasquez og Stine Coupe.
Okay, yes. Yeah. And how did you work together? What was the process like?
Well, actually it started out as a development project back in 2016 called Second Skin Experiment. And I had invited certain people, amongst them Stine and Ingrid, to participate in this investigation. And in this process, we were working, already very collective in investigating how to use different materials on our own skin. Nylon, we worked with nylon and different kinds of stuffing, and made plaster casts of our own bodies, like the whole breast and also the legs and also between the legs. And it was really, in that sense, very close to our own bodies. And it was already back then, a very open process where we could kind of feed the whole process with ideas and questions on an equal level. And then, of course, because we were coincidentally all women at that time, I hadn't thought about that, actually. I'd sort of say it just happened. But maybe it wasn't a coincidence after all. But I didn't think about it. It was during that process and after that it actually appeared to us how important an aspect of the work it was that we were all women. And this work kept puzzling my mind, so I decided to bring it on in a new direction, and then just keep this very close relationship and collective work that we had already established at that time, because I found it very fruitful, and also it seemed to be able to really push the limits of the work.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I noticed when I watch also the video now is that you clearly very much use a kind of physical humor and a kind of grotesque sort of the grotesque body as a strategy in the piece. Can you say something about that? Is that something you think about, or?
Yes, of course. Of course. Well, first of all, I think that working with puppets and mask work is calling to humor and the grotesque in the first place, I think. So I think in that sense this tone in the work has something to do with the puppet as a theatrical media. and the mask, of course. But then again, of course, we also worked deliberately with that strategy to twist and turn things and exaggerate some things in order to really get to the point of the potential in the female transformation. And then again, maybe it is also, slightly comic and, if not to say a little grotesque, what we as women do to ourselves when we, put on makeup, get dressed up, cut in ourselves. And I also think that, just the assumption that, as we also heard in the video, some of the quotes we're using, the assumption that the woman is a handicapped creature from nature's hand has been very well established through, historical time. So, and I find that maybe a little bit shocking and grotesque, yes. So,
yeah.
So to bring it to that edge.
There you also get a little bit into where you draw your inspiration from, or would you say like this, you've been looking into these descriptions of the female body through times, right?
Yes, in this particular piece, it was something that when we started to look more into what kind of women types do we actually have, like, historical, mythological figures and so on, culturally, socially. We stumbled over all these, absurd quotes from really, really, well-known, famous men, of course, mostly.
Yeah.
And just the shock it was for us also to see that it was, well acknowledged to this particular way of looking at the woman. So we wanted to kind of bring that in also as part of the text material, and play with it in contrast to these different women types.
Thank you. So in that sense, there's a little bit of a political thread, of course, in that piece, a sort of feminist strategy, and it takes me on to you, Helle Fuglsang, since I really love your video from Sjælsmark, and it's clearly been a bit of a political act to create this video piece. And can you tell a little bit about, how you had to navigate in order to film this video from Sjælsmark?
Yeah, as I also told in the introduction, that it ended up that I was not allowed to do anything in there. Mime, I think in the beginning it must be an offer for Sjælsmark that somebody comes there and brings something into the kids and make them express themselves. But I don't know, maybe they think it was too political, because I was also quite honest about what I want and how I see the genius thing about mime, and how it could, be turn in also to be not only a personal expression, but also a political statement. And at the same time, not to put on words, about what is a trauma, about the things, but put it into a poetic frame. And but everything was turned down, so I had to go my own way. But of course, inside there is so many nice people and powerful people, and even though I'm older women or whatever, and I was crowding around and put up my legs and things, and you could imagine that maybe from other culture they would think, is that okay? And But I think because I just met, as I said, it was my luck that it was happening in the corridor without any really structure in that way. It meant it was happening, and the kids were really much into it. And of course, if you feel the kids is going in and it's taking them somewhere, it opens up a lot. So I have a lot of entrants like that, and I was also there for a long time, on and off. And at the end there in February, I was filming. It was the first time I had up a camera. I didn't want that they should feel I come from outside. I want to take some from you and put it out. Right. And also, as I said, that because of the situation, I thought that maybe I will not ever go to film anything. But for me, it was the most important that the kids were developing this language, and I could see it has an impact on them. But then I was supposed to do the project in the autumn holiday in 2019. Yeah.
Okay.
And
not
I
during
asked,
Corona.
No,
but
it was before. And I asked the police and also because I want to take my camping wagon there and make a studio with sound and costumes and things like that. And I asked Red Cross, and they say no. I got something like that from the police. Yeah. And then there was all this political thing about them moving out from Sjælsmark, and they were going to, and also they're living in Avnstrup now. So I knew it was going to happen in April, if not the Corona has arrived. But so it was a winter holiday, and I said, okay, if it's going to happen, it's going to be now. So I took my camping wagon and I had found some place behind some bushes outside Sjælsmark. I could see Sjælsmark, and I put it up there without electricity and all this thing, and living there outside. And I had
so
to.
So it was really a subversive strategy.
Yeah, and
you
what
really
was
had to kind of disguise.
And
your
what was
mission.
very interesting is also because that maybe people don't know, but the families in Sjælsmark were not allowed to cook. Because, it's a very intimate thing and very important thing for parents to children, and also for the culture thing. And of course, it was a political strategy to cut that out. Right. So they have to have this food from the cafeteria. But of course, everywhere, if you go into the rooms, you could put up. That was for cooking, Right. So I've been eating there many times, and I was smuggling food out of Sjælsmark to my camping wagon, and, so it's becoming all these things. Yeah.
So you somehow established a relationship to them coming there as a kind of also. I find that in your earlier work as well, Helle, that you often create this. With this mime figure of yours, you managed to actually meet people very easily, right? That you also went to several countries in Africa with this kind of character. Do you think that's the strategy you used?
Yeah, I think because also, for example, in Africa and also here maybe because mime is also a kind of, if you are stuck with things, it's a kind of humor. Yeah. So I was also falling down the chairs in Sjælsmark. Right. So it was people getting laughing and at the same time, and also in Africa, if you do things like that, there is a question of power that changes, and it opens up a lot. And laughing opens up doors. So yeah, I'm sure about that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Helle.
Yeah,
we'll get back to you in a minute. So just to the last piece of today, and it's Kat. You're representing the group now, which was because this was also a collective process, making the piece, and you have a practice in a way. So there's a connection here about using kind of performances or creating performances also as a practice of being together or creating a community. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's very hit on the nail for us, or that the things that we do when we come together, the three of us, it's as important to come together and perform them together and support each other in exploring in this frameworks that we created and these choreographic structures that we create. And it's as important to come together and do it without a physical audience, as well as we are also very happy with an audience and love to have that kind of performative setting and show. And but it's equally Yeah,
I was
important.
just very interested in this, that you were going to make a 3-hour kind of
Right.
installation-like piece where people could come and go. And we, of course, due to Corona, also were discussing how to do this, because audiences, we have to control them a bit more when the theater was open. So there was a real kind of situation with that somehow. Can you say something about this process of thinking from wanting to do a 3-hour installation-like work and then ending up with a 15 minutes video? How did you go from one thing to the other?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's maybe not, I mean, of course, it's obviously very different, but I guess it would have been even more different if we had to create a 3-hour durational thing into a 1-hour frontal piece. That would have been a bigger jump, even though both of these situations were live, because for the camera, we could still choose, let's take this specific session where we have this choreographic structure going on, or we are moving into this song, or we also work with these like different kinds of roles of being the main dancer and the supporters of the main dancer. And when you film, you also have this very playful room where you can say, yeah, let's do half an hour of that, and then we cut out what we don't like, in a way. So in a way, we also worked every day for 4 hours. So that was, of course, not a 3-hour durational live performance, but it was still 4 hours of work, in a way. But obviously, I mean, I think it made us more, we had to be really concrete, and also maybe naming things in a new way, and naming certain sections of the work in new ways. That was also helpful for us, or useful in some way. Yeah.
And so you talk, like the piece talks about it, but you also talk about building nests, or this kind of porous nests, and creating those situations together. And can you say a little bit more about your thinking about that? What is that about? Finding a home or something like this? Or creating a new sort of community together? Or
or creating homes and temporary homes. I think, I mean, our practice is a long journey that kind of maybe is sparked by one little desire, or one kind of like shared reflection around something, and then it has really moved from there, taking references, taking new things that comes along. So to go a little bit back, we all have been moving a lot around, living in different cities, and also in the dance field, like often with work. If you are privileged to and you want to, you also move a lot around to different settings for residencies or for projects. So we were just discussing this like nomadic feeling of like having to change place, and then talking about what are these things, also like really concretely materials that you can use or might need for you to create temporary homes and nests. And also how can you build these structures with materials, but also with the body, and by tying bodies parts together, with which you maybe saw a little bit of in the video, but that we also do a lot, and carrying each other, or pushing each other. That is where this porousness derives from. And then also like to see the nest as a little bit also as a kind of stage on the stage. So also creating temporary stages on the bigger stage. And because we've been, so that many different references, but we've been very touched by this paradise birds, like for example in Australia, that are like building nests when they want to mate with each other. So if they want to attract another bird, they build nests for this like really beautiful nest that they take like really, really long time to build, and they sort of wait around in these nests, like kind of cruising to see what comes along. And they also each has like specific signature dance moves that they just repeat over and over for days, which really like also so in relation, because cruising has also been like an important theme for us in this. Also in relation to queer culture, and we saw this like overlap between the practice of these birds with like cruising into queer culture, and we're very interested in this kind of stage. if that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So I also, just as a last question, I was just wondering, what do you think about like this vision of the nomadic lifestyle and doing residencies everywhere in the world, etc. It's interesting when you talk about, you have the kids and they are not allowed to be here and they're put in a deportation center and we can't even visit them. And then we have this nomadic culture, but then COVID-19 came into play and now all of a sudden we are not allowed to travel anymore. Do you think it's going to change in the future, this way of us traveling around within the dance culture community to do residence here and there and everywhere, or what do you think about that?
Well, I guess I think that kind of lifestyle, it's like it can both be a privilege, but also something very precarious, like depending on from where you look at it and who is doing it. Like you might maybe now, due to Corona, look at it as maybe like, a privilege to be able to, and I mean, even that thought of like, oh, I can go wherever I want, like that is something that not everybody can do that. Like that's something also very specific, also tied up on privilege. But at the same time, it might also be because there are not enough work. Maybe you would like to be more of a local artist, but maybe there are not enough structures and opportunities or whatever where you live. So I think there is it's complex. It's not either or for me, and I don't know, like art and culture was struggling before and it is still, I don't really see, like, I don't know, like I think it's more, I guess Corona kind of more like entices like rethinking of even what art is and where art is happening and what an audience is and where. And these things can also happen inside of you and your living room and all these things. But again, it might also be from a luxurious position that you can maybe afford to go into that lockdown self-exploration as an artist in your bedroom or whatever. Like that might also be a luxury. Like it depends on where you see it from. Yeah.
Well, we can maybe get back into this discussion, but let's just have a quick break and then go on to some of the online questions.
Yes, we have some comments first for Kvindelig, the piece Kvindelig by Annette Asp Christensen af Wunderwerk. It's fantastic. Hoping to see the full performance of Kvindelig someday. Thank you for this excerpt. Then some comments for Helle Fuglsang, Vilma version. Behind the Fence. Strong and beautiful work. I love the TikTok moves. One throws a heart and a rose and a sprout coming up of the soil, and an ice flower for you, Helle Fuglsang. Another person says very fascinating. The hats off for these lovely kids. Clapping hands, hearts, so fine. Very strong work, Helle. And thank you, Helle, and all the kids. the kids who
Thank you, the kids. Thank you, the kids.
Thank you, kids. Yeah.
Yes, and then there's some questions here for porous nests. Okay. And one question goes like this. How set/improvised is the performance, and is it durational? You already answered that. But how set improvised is the performance?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Whoever asked it, I think I would say there is a little bit of a spectrum, like from. No, there's nothing that's not set at all, because it's all based on a practice and a continuous exploration of all these different kind of themes and structures that we're working on. So there are certain moments that are quite set, or we want to get into that, then we call it the body nest. For example, the one at the end during the Miley Cyrus song where we were like tying our legs together, we have a language, we call it the body nest. So we're like, oh, shouldn't we try the body nest together with the Wrecking Ball song? And then that maybe becomes set. So there are all these different elements that we can pull from and like make more or less set in different settings. I would more say we work a lot also with scores, which is like, term that is used a lot also in, composition and choreography. And for example, like we also have this structure or score where we improvise for half an hour and move through all these different kinds of elements, but we have delegated different roles. So for example, one of us is kind of like the main dancer, and the two others are sort of supporters. And it doesn't mean that there cannot occur mergings or like situations where these roles more overlap, but we kind of have this departure point where there is one person who is surrendering a bit more to the situation and maybe going more for their immediate desires, their intuition. Maybe they allow themselves to close their eyes, and the role of the two others are to really listen to what this person desires and carry that on, like maybe literally carrying them or pulling or being their backup singers. We also have this like more transportable lights that we move around in space. So also maybe you light that person, so this person gets to be a little bit the diva and that, I mean, that's just one example. We also, before we do this session, then we always sit together and, for example, if Snorre has to be the main dancer, we ask, okay, Snorre, do you have any like special desires today? And it's like, yeah, I really want to have the braids on, and I want at one point that you are around me with lights, and then you kind of come close at some point because I'd like to feel you. And then we're like, okay, that's a prophecy. So we are not like, we have to fulfill that wish completely, but it's a prophecy, it's a spell, it's out there. So that's one example.
Maybe it could be interesting to just go to you guys as well. I wonder about working with improvisation and fixed choreography and scores. Is that an element that you work with as well in the work?
Which one of them, improvisation or
with
fixed,
all three? I imagine you use all three as well, right?
Of course.
Yeah?
I mean, we use improvisation very much, especially during the whole research period, you know, to generate material, of course, but sometimes also because you work with puppets, and it has to be, you know, seen from a certain perspective to work. I mean, that's one of the criteria for puppet work, that you have to set some of the movement in order to
for it to work.
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
Basically.
But so in the finished piece, I mean, is it pretty? It's pretty set, right?
Yeah.
Or not? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty set.
Pretty set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Direction-wise, where you to move in the space, and also there are, you know, certain set choreographies in the piece. Also because of the puppet work, but also because the performers actually don't see anything.
Right.
You know, they are completely covered by.
So you have to tell them
body
something.
masks.
Yeah.
So they need to focus
of course, to
on
me
where they
there
are.
seemed also to be a sort of cabaret.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a cabaret this year,
and
right?
you need a little bit. What's that called in English? Overskud. You know,
to be
energy.
on top of it.
Yeah.
Surplus.
Yeah.
So, what about working with the kids? You said you were doing things like teaching them dance something, or
Yeah, but you know, it's, as I said, I think if especially maybe Sjælsmark, but also if you are working with people who is in a very honorable situation, you can't make. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Not at all, you know. So you have really to be there and go with what's happening. And of course, in this moment, as I said with the kids, you know, we are doing things, and when I see them next time, they can do it, even though you think they don't interest or they don't anything, then it's happening like that. So, and then you just have to take the moment. But I would also like to talk about another project I did with the kids. It was a moment where there was a discussion and something in the government about the situation in borgerforslag. What's that?
I'm not sure. Borgerforslag. It's citizen request we have in Denmark. That means if enough people have signed it, the Folketing, the government has to discuss it at least.
Yeah.
I mean, it may not change anything, but it is proposed. Yeah.
And at this moment, when the discussion was going on in the government, there was about 7 kids from Sjælsmark that there we have, make a kind of structured thing with the red carpet and with the wall, of course, and with hearts, and they were falling down to the red carpet, so you could see what you are losing with not all this heart and all this personality, will not let them into the society. And at the end, there was also political coming and doing the wall together with us. And for me, what was very important at this, first that the kids were seen and they were doing all this thing, but also that they realized that this was a way to communicate into a political situation. So it was becoming an activistic action. And I think it's not that I'm telling them that with words, but it's something that is underneath, and this to have tools to express yourself and be seen. And of course, it didn't change everything, but they were moving from Sjælsmark to Avnstrup, and they're living in Avnstrup now. The condition has not changed a lot.
No,
but anyway, and there we had a structure.
So I can see there's another question online. Is that right, Kate?
Yes. 2 questions for porous nests. One question is regarding the choice of music and the use of music. If you can tell about that. And the second question is from Stina Strange and Tue Tobiasen. They ask Porous Nests, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about the notion of dance. What does dance mean to you in this practice?
Okay. So one at a time, maybe.
Yeah.
So the first one was the choice of music.
The choice of music and why. Yeah.
I mean, like a big strategy or something that we really work with together is really this like notion of desire and kind of like intuitive needs and like saying yes to them and following them and then being critical towards them along the way. So it means in terms of songs, like we just knew that when we were kind of like initiating this project that we wanted to sing together and we wanted to dwell into that practice of what that is and could be, and we wanted to explore this, like viewing ourselves as this kind of like singing trio, this like girl group, and we just kind of went for different songs that came to us or have come to us in different ways. So the first one was like The Twist of My Sobriety by Tanita Tikaram. I think it was it was Peter who found the video of her singing it online, and we kind of really fell for this song for many different reasons, and then we just went from there a little bit also in relation to the desires of what we want to do when we dance. We also have picked songs that speaks to us for different reasons, and then while we work with them, we are also critical towards like, oh, what is this artist? Where does it come from? But we are balancing a little bit this. It is also what it is. It is this song, and there is a meeting point between the nest building practice and the singing that can also be something that we don't know. And then, we also have this bigger thematic around this picture of this, also a little bit in relation to the like nomadic lifestyle and moving around, this like urban cowgirl who is like traveling and kind of, do you also say like lay down a stretch in English? If you nedlægge en strækning, kind of, if you have to kind of travel or go on
a stretch.
Yeah, lay down a stretch, like you have to travel, I think you can say it, travel or go on a journey. So we also had something with songs that for us were also a little bit about this like journey or traveling through a landscape and kind of being, on a way or like, on also a little bit of mission through something. So, I think, and then it's something that we are questioning all the time, and we want to do more songs and more covers, and we are questioning, and then obviously being also really, pop culture means a lot to us, and these 4 women, where also 2 of them are queer, like they are all kind of like a little bit like icons to us in some way, and like artists that are guiding us spiritually in different ways with their music and their art. Yeah.
Interesting. And the other question, and very simple, what does the dancing mean to you? I was actually wondering a little bit, because you were also saying things like you were building these stages, and then sometimes there was a main dancer and the other and then I also wondered, so what is the dancer then, or what is the dance in that?
So
It's not
how?
simple.
Maybe no. But I also would like to the question that was posed. What was was it mean, the word, or I like to hear the formulation, because that's a bit.
Yeah.
What?
I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about the notion of dance. What does dance mean to you in this practice?
I mean, I think all of it is dance. First of all, I think I think there is like. Again, it's maybe a little bit of a spectrum, but so we have this sentence that we say that the practice is to build porous nest for dance to happen within. So we're also working a lot with how to have this material in space and how to interact with them and each other, and getting informed by, we also work a lot with sound, but getting informed by the various elements and what dance comes out of there, basically also. I mean, that's one thing where the dance comes from or is. And also, we also work with a lot of different, and now I was just saying a little bit about this, urban cowgirl fantasy, but we also, we have different, images or fantasies that are important to us, so that we share with each other, that are maybe related to, memories or certain references of pop culture or whatever culture that we experience through our life, that speaks to us or is powerful to us for different reasons, and all that comes in and informs our movements. But maybe also in relation a little bit to what you said, we sometimes we are using different language, and sometimes we had this little also, not a joke, but funny way of saying that the one that was maybe a little dancing a bit more than the others, or supported by the others, was første elskeren, which is this old the first lover, which is old theater term with that's Don Juan or whatever, is første elskeren, and also so
I noticed that it's funny. It's
and
somehow.
so it's also I think a lot of the work is a lot about also giving each other agency and giving each other space, and also taking space and empowering each other and taking space, and being being the diva or første elskeren. Does it make sense?
Divas and dancing. I think you also had a few divas and dancing in your piece. What does dancing mean in your piece, do you think?
I think it means everything. Right. I mean, I have a background as a dancer and physical performer myself, so I think just the thing that I choose to work with mask figures that are, and puppets that are so close to my body is because I'm a dancer. Mm-hmm. So everything, and I think to be able to also work with things like that, I think you should at least have a physical background of some kind, because it's it's at the same time something external from your own body, but then again you move it with your body, there is a very close connection there, and also external, internal, how to say that, spinning,
tension between
Tension,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And obviously dancing is also a practice within you.
Yeah, and I
within
think
your work.
also if we thinking about the film, you know, it's
Yeah.
there's this TikTok dance that they
Yeah.
have learned from the internet, and I didn't know it existed at all, and I don't know it. But I think, you know, they're in a situation where they're not able to go out and take dance classes. They're not invited in to do things, and I think it's brilliant how they do it themselves, and then we talk about things and expression and things, but you know that they're just doing it, and so they are promoting it themselves. I think, and of course everything is dance somehow, of course, and composition and the same way. Of course, it's much more conventional than the way you are working with dance, but it's also like a pop culture somehow they're doing, like what you are inspired of.
But Helle, I was also wondering
Yeah.
that I feel a little bit like the way you work with the video. Also,
Yeah.
seems to be kind of choreographic, like
I
because
think
of the
so.
way the free images work, and we all of a sudden we meet a
Yeah.
body in the image, and
I also feel that, you know, because I'm not educated as an editor or something. I just do it, and also this to work with free screens. It's just something I wanted, and then I think it's coming up like that. It's like mixing things, and then you see something, and it's very exciting. Yeah, but I think also it is a kind of composition. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And of course, also this with the corridors, it was my idea that we have to see that, because that's reality, but it also this endlessness, and you know, there's no future. So we have this space that is empty, and at the same time it's full with things. And so I was happy. I like the corridors. You know.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is there a question online, Grete?
Yes, time is running out,
Yeah.
but there's one question for you, Helle Fuglsang from Christian Knudsen, asking what you are working at. Are you what is your future project?
Then I don't know if it's about with the kids or whatever. I have a lot of different projects, so I think I don't know what.
But you're still working with the kids, right? That's
Yes, I am,
something-
and I think also I think more interesting maybe to say what happened during Corona, because I think what was interesting, because I was not allowed to get in, and so I was phoning the kids. And we would say, "Oh, can you find a place in your home, in your room you like?" And then they find it, okay, in the window. And then they have to do a mime things, going to another place they like. And then they filmed it themselves and sent it to me. So we were making a kind of collaboration. Exchange, yeah. And then, you know, I think this situation make for them that they were doing something by themselves. And I think, you know, we're talking about the Sjælsmark kids that they cannot concentrate, they cannot do anything, they're violent and all these things, they're traumatized. Of course, it's a problem, but they did that, and I think they are becoming, you know, for this festival, we can sing the independent artist, you know? And I think that's interesting, you know, it makes up that they were doing it themselves and sent it to me. And then I have put it into it, so I have made maybe 7 different kind of films with them.
Okay, great.
And they have all got this material.
So
on
maybe
the
we get a chance to see that
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
future.
Yeah,
somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so we're kind of almost running out of time, but and so we never got to use the hat. You were saved by your own. You had enough to say, so we didn't get to the hat. We'll get to the hat tomorrow, I'm sure. But just as a final thing, could you say something about also where you think you're taking your work next, Kat, maybe? Do you have any plans for Porous Nest?
Yes.
Yeah?
Porous Nest wants to go on tour. No,
Yes.
no, but it's one of the wishes. Or I don't know. I think it's really also a practice and a work that is like strong communication with the opportunities or whatever, but or like what happens and what comes to us. So like, yeah, I think we want to keep on developing it, but it's sort of like a never finished thing. And yeah, hopefully one day in the festival setting here, maybe live, to do that one day, that would be really beautiful now that we established a contact. And,
And Kvindelige also, I was really disappointed that because actually all three pieces of today were supposed to be shown in Aarhus at our festival there for the first time in Aarhus. And Kvindelig, obviously you have a relationship to Aarhus, Annette, right?
Yeah.
So
I lived there and worked there.
Yeah, exactly. So we would have loved to actually also show your work there, because it hasn't been shown.
So cool.
But are there any plans for it now?
You know, everything is, it's a day-to-day planning right now.
That's the times we're in, yeah.
That's how it is. But
hopefully we will see it live.
Yeah, I kind of, I've had a lot of time this year to give space to new thoughts, new ideas, new, small, what did you say, grit sprouts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good. Good to know. All right, and we will maybe see another piece with the Sjælsmark.
Yeah, but also what I think I would like to do with the kids, because now, of course, we are filming it and people can look into Sjælsmark, but the next step is to take them out of Sjælsmark and becoming a part of another performance that has not especially something to do with Sjælsmark, but they are becoming a part of our society. Right. So that's my next goal. Yeah, and we are going there.
Fantastic. Okay, so we have to round off this afternoon. Thank you so much to Helle Fuglsang, Annette Asp, and Katrine Staub.
Thank you.
And we have another two that were actually part of Porous Nest. Thank you so much for also being here. And remember to be back again tomorrow at 4 o'clock, where we have our last show. And Grit, we have another great program tomorrow, right?
It's right, Eric. And tomorrow on this YouTube channel, we're going to present the following artists and their works. Lind Haldrup Lorentzen, Hide and You Shall Seek. Lydport, Macroplastic. And Antoinette Helbing, The Laughing Game. And Recoil Performance Group will also be here, and they presented As I Collapse few days ago, also within this, as part of the festival program. You're going to meet these artists on video, live in the studio, and in an artist talk with the black hat involved. And thank you a lot for the questions and comments in the chat. Please keep continuing posing questions and commenting what we're doing. And see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Ciao.